hugely proud to have you walk the red carpet on behalf of, the brands that you represent in India and to represent India at a global forum like this. This forum, as you know, is the India Pavilion, takes India's entertainment industry story to the world. And I'll really begin by pointing out the fact that you're actually one of those unique actresses in India who has that distinction of having done films across so many Indian languages. In the true sense, an Indian actress, not just a Hindi or a Tamil or a Telugu movie actress. So kudos to that. I think you've taken the step of demolishing linguistic barriers for the industry way before any films did. So congratulations for that, and thanks again for being here. Uh, we'll
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here. It's my first trip to Cannes. And I'm very happy. And I'm very happy that this year is special because it's 75 years of India and 75 years of the Cannes Film Festival. So I'm happy that I made my Cannes debut this year. It feels very magical and super amazing. And I'm happy to be here and speak to all of you today.
Right. Let's actually begin by talking about the films that you've done. Right, have of course done extremely well in India. A lot of them across languages have managed to cut great ties with the Indian diaspora all over the world. Your thoughts on what has been the underlying factor that has made those films reach out to such a global audience?
I have to actually begin by saying thank you for, thank you for pointing out and noticing noticing the way that I've been working the past maybe 5 years or so. I especially say that because to me it's been very important as an actor to be able to work like that. I think when I joined the industry, and I've said this before, as a child when I was growing up, I saw Mani Ratnam film and I wanted to be a Mani Ratnam heroine, and that was my one-point agenda. and I think when it happened for me, it opened up another world. From the time that I wanted to be an actor, I knew that somewhere, it's not about language, it's about stories, it's about making people feel a certain way. And feelings have no language, feelings have no barrier. If you can make somebody feel something, it doesn't matter which language you're speaking in. It's about being able to make a connection to somebody's heart. And you do that with your eyes, you do that with your soul, you do that with your honesty. And then it doesn't matter what language it is that you're speaking. And I always maybe naively thought that. And I think when I started working professionally around 2010-11, I didn't have so many opportunities to work like that. But I think after I did this film with Mani sir, I was able to work in various languages. And today I can so proudly say that, films are really just about connecting with stories. And they're about feelings. And I enjoy working like that. And to me, it's about the director, the vision of the director, the vision of the team. And to be a child on that set and to be pushed and to be a part of the wonderland that is created for me, and then to be able to tell stories through to be the to be the physical vision of the director. I think that for me is very exciting. And be it Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Spanish, French, any language, if I want to work with a director and if I want to work on a story, I will somehow do it. And I think I've really enjoyed that. And I think to tie up what you were saying, today I feel like the world has become smaller in that way, in a way that cinema really, really connects different people. Because again, stories are universal, feelings are universal. And even in the Indian film industry, and I specifically say the Indian film industry because I'm very proud to call myself an Indian film actor. And I'm so proud of our culture, of our multicultural heritage, of our languages, of our, our different, of the different kinds of cinema that we have. And I think so too the world over. We are connecting. I think there's more inclusivity. people are looking at actors, people are looking at sort of actors not for where they originate from, but for what they fulfill, in the story. And I think that's wonderful. And I'm so happy that I'm part of a generation where the change is happening and that we are all able to work like that.
It's very interesting that you pointed out how the globe is shrinking in the context of consumption. The pandemic, of course, resulted in the advent of streaming platforms accelerating their outreach to the households all over India. And that has allowed us, Indians, access to content from across the globe and a global audience access to content that's made in India. What are your thoughts on this bridge that has been built, and what do you think will it take for a consistency of Indian content being consumed by the global audience that's beyond the diaspora? Of course, Indians in the US, Indians in the UK, Indians in Europe, Australia, all over have been consuming our content, a big deal. But it's still, we are still scratching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to getting the Americans in America, the French in France to start watching our films at scale. What do you think are the factors that we can, as the Indian content industry, get into our content to make that happen?
I think for anything to reach out to anybody, I think what is the most important thing is authenticity and honesty. I think if we make authentic content, and if our intention is to tell a story that belongs to us, and if we tell it beautifully, I think it'll connect to anybody. And I say authenticity because, as a country, we have a lot to offer in terms of stories, and like I said, in terms of stories, in terms of cultures. And I think it's so important to be proud of it and to tell our own stories. So that's why I say authenticity. We have a lot of stories to tell, and we have very interesting lives and very interesting traditions and cultures. And I think that's why it's so important for us to be authentic and to be proud of who we are and where we come from. And I think the moment you do that, people see that and they are drawn to it because it's also something that is different for them. But like I said, feelings are universal, so that always connects people. So
Got it. And again, as an actor, of course, you represent the films and the work that you do. But at a forum like this, or wherever you travel, or wherever you shoot, you also represent the country as an ambassador in some sense. Because you are an icon. You have achieved so much, starting so early, and there are people all over the world who look up to you. What do you think are the subtle responsibilities of somebody of your stature, somebody who's a public figure, while representing a country, a nation, a people at forums like these?
that sounds very hectic. I try not to think about it because the moment I think about it, it becomes like so much pressure. For me, I feel like be yourself, and every day, like whether you're at a forum like this or whether you're dealing with somebody who nobody is going to see, I think it's so important to be your best self, at every point and to everybody around you. Um, I know what you're saying. When you come to a place like Cannes, there is that huge responsibility because your entire country is watching you and there's a microscope on you. But
So is the world.
so, yes. But I feel like all the more it's so important to be yourself because the moment you come under any kind of pressure to perform for somebody else, you're not going to be yourself. I want my mistakes to be my own mistakes, my authentic mistakes. I can live with those, but I don't want to. I don't want to do silly things because somebody put pressure on me. So, I want to be a happy 5-year-old. I want to enjoy myself. It's been my dream to come to Cannes. It's of course a dream for anybody, and especially me as an Indian actor, to represent my country on a global platform. But when I do that, I want to be my best self, and I want to be me when I do it. And I will do that with responsibility. And if I make a mistake, then I'm learning. But it'll be my mistake. And if I don't, then great, I'll flow gracefully and happily, and hopefully people will cheer for me.
We always will. Aditi, one more thing. We've had a few cases now of Indian actors who are working in content that's produced in various parts of the world.
Yes.
We've seen Dhanush do, a show for the Russo brothers now, which is quite a
Yes,
big deal. They're the makers of
absolutely.
Avengers and the
Yes.
Marvel Universe movies. Uh, I think, the fact that India is a 1.4 billion people and a huge market to tap into is something that the entertainment industries across the world notice. What do you think are the possibilities around these kind of collaborations to become more mainstream? We have a Dhanush who's done this. We've had Mr. Om Puri do that once. We've had Mr. Nasruddin Shah do that in a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But do you see a scenario where this will become a more mainstream thing, where we will possibly have a Marvel superhero coming out of India? Or we'll have, really mainstream stuff happening very regularly with frequency?
Though, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, and I think it is very important for the world to be inclusive and for us to not think of it as, okay, this is an Indian actor and that is a Spanish actor and this is a German director, and it's about talent, right? At the end of the day, it's about actors, it's about directors. It's not about where you're from, and it's not about gender either. Um, so like even things like this is a female director. No, it's a director. So in the same way, it's we are all actors and we're all in the same universe. And we're all creating. We're all a part of like beautiful cinema, and we're so lucky to be a part of this. Be a part of this magical world of cinema. Very few people get this opportunity. So I do appreciate what you're saying, and I do think that it's a very it is something that is going to happen. But at the same time, I think for all of us, it is important to understand that the validation from somewhere else is not what counts. The fact that we're all working together to create great cinema, that is what counts. And I think it's very important for us to be aware of that and to celebrate that. Because cinema in itself is so magical. And we get to create it wherever we get to do it, in whichever language, whichever country, whichever region. And yes, I'm all for inclusivity, having said that.
Right.
And for the world to expand, and in many ways come closer as well. Yeah.
Right. It's very interesting that you spoke of inclusivity. Just to build up further on that, uh, in terms of the choices that are available for consumers to watch, there is a lot of a lot of content coming to the theaters. There's a lot coming to the streaming platforms. TV is still a big deal with 250 million households still consuming satellite television. As an actor, how do you make your choices around which medium do you want to be a part of? How do you want to balance the kind of content that you choose for any of these specific mediums? Because you've again had that unique distinction of being across. So, with your experience there, how do you choose that this is a film that probably makes sense to be a part of because it would go to a platform like this and possibly be consumed in the most optimal way?
Okay, so I don't look at it like that. Maybe I should, but I don't look at it like that. I look at I look at what at this point is important to me. It might change over the years, I don't know, but at this point, I look at, okay, I'm dying to work with this director. I'm dying to work on this script. I'm dying to be this girl. I'm dying to whatever, work with this actor, whatever. All these things, the creative calls. Those are the first calls that I make. And then where that film goes, that I think is not a decision that I even should be a part of, according to me. Because that is a decision that the people who are making the film are more, according to me, they are more in control of being a part of those kinds of decisions. Like, for example, um, again, like a lot of us have grown up going to the theater, and it's again a very magical place. And so when the lockdown happened, about 2 or 3 of my films, which were supposed to be theatrical releases, they went to the OTT platforms. And the first one that did that, I started crying. I was like, no. It was my first Malayalam film, and it was a very special film. And I was playing a girl who doesn't speak. She's mute. And I was so excited for it to release in the theater, and it was a new audience for me, the Malayalam audience. And I wept very loudly. And then the whole, I didn't, beyond, and of course they took me into, they took my, what I felt into consideration, but ultimately I realized that you can't put producers under that kind of stress, and we did go for an OTT release, and then I saw the magic of an OTT release, and it just reached out to the numbers that it did, people from all over the world, and I was getting insane messages from everybody. Also because it was, a new kind of role for me. I wasn't speaking. I didn't have a single dialogue, which is an aside. One of the reasons I did it that I didn't have to mug a lot of Malayalam dialogues, a language that I don't know. I'm also a dancer, so it gave me that, that it was really amazing to work like that. But anyway, to get back to what I was talking about, it was a new world opened up for me, and that's when I realized, and also because we were all in lockdown, we had a lot of time to reflect and think and, overthink. I realized that, actually the medium really doesn't matter. It's about the content. It's about the creative team that you work with. It's about what you're doing in that story and in that film. And both mediums, theatrical releases and OTT platforms, they're both really incredible mediums, and they reach out to people in different ways. So as an actor, it's a win-win situation for me because I get to do both, and I am doing both. And now I'm possibly more consciously doing both. Earlier, maybe I was just meandering, but now I'm maybe more consciously doing both.
Let me actually rephrase. So I didn't mean choosing the medium. I meant choosing scripts that you think are,
According to the medium? Yeah, that is true. Like when I read a script, I do, but again, it's not my place to say, honestly. Because my job is, I have to come to set and perform and, breathe life into the vision of the directors and basically be a 5-year-old on set. So that's what I think is what I should do. But yes, of course, all of us are more and more involved, with other things as well. And we because I love to work as a team, I will say what I feel. So sometimes when a script comes to me, I do ask, surely, is this for the OTT platform? It sounds like it'll do really well there, or it'll reach out to a lot of, people there, or this sounds like a theatrical, but it shouldn't be my place to decide that. But I can think it and I can say it. I do.
Got it. Also, before we close, just wanted to have a bit of a wish list of yours on a few factors. One, since we are talking about taking India to the world, and especially in the 75th year, where our Honorable Prime Minister has spoken about his vision for turning India into the content hub of the world. What do you think does the Indian entertainment industry need to do together as a unit to really turn that vision into a reality?
To believe in ourselves and our stories and to be together. We are the Indian film industry. Till today, we hear people saying South actors, South industry, regional films. No, each place in India is a region, each language is important, each actor is important, each talent is important, each story is important. And I think the day that we stand together and we tell stories, authentic, honest stories with the right intention, I think that day will be a very, very, very strong entertainment industry and country, and in every way, not just entertainment, even as people. So I think for us as an industry to stand together, to back talent, to believe in ourselves, I think that's the most important thing.
Got it. You've spoken of Mr. Mani Ratnam, so we'll leave him out. But a
Why?
director,
He's my favoritist.
But you already worked with him. So,
So what?
director
I'll
who's
work
on
with
the
him a
wish list.
million times.
Another director who's on the wish list.
Mani sir, always.
And the fourth after Mani sir, and Mani sir.
Mani sir, again. I'm a Mani sir loyalist. Also, he really, really sort of made me believe that dreams can come true. It's a little girl's dream to do something, and I worked with him, and it was a dream come true for me. So he'll always be very important to me. He's a mentor, like a parent, and he might not think I've learned anything, but I feel I learn just by being around him like whenever I'm around him. So I long to do films with him all the time. And I also feel like for an actor like me, it's so important to be a 5-year-old on set, to be nurtured, to be given freedom. So Mani sir is very important to me. And then Sanjay sir, Sanjay Leela Bansali, who I also love a lot. And I enjoy working with him, and he makes incredible, larger than life cinema. I love that. There are a lot of people now.
Anyone from outside the country? Since we've had a Dhanush now, and we've had a Priyanka Chopra who've,
Okay, so I have a thing about this. Is that it's only when a dream comes true that I talk about it. Till then, I just zip it. Isn't that better? It's also more special.
Right. And one more thing. I mean, since you are at Cannes, one film of yours that you think, of course, back in the day, movies didn't travel as widely and as easily as they do now, courtesy the advent of streaming platforms. 3 films of yours that you think deserve to have a global audience. I mean, which had they released today, you would have liked to see them make a splash across the world.
Whoa. Okay, let me try. One was one of the first films I did. It was called Ye Sali Zindagi by Sudhir Mishra. I think that was a really cool film. And what they say, ahead of its time. Then Mani sir's Katravelli Day. I had one, I had an English producer, a British producer, saw that film recently, and he cried and he cried and he cried, and then he called me and said, "I'm still crying." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know whether to be happy or sad." And he said, "Why don't we make films like this anymore?" So that made me very happy. So Mani sir's Katravelli Day. And I think another film that I love very much, and it's a very beautiful, poignant film, is Sufiyum Sajatiyum. Is a Malayalam film that I did. Very poignant, very, very sensitive, very beautiful. Yeah, these 3. I'm sure there are some more also, but I can't remember.
Quite a few. But,
Oh, there's a film called Psycho by Mishkin, who's also quite an incredible director. And that, that's also a very interesting film. And that, I think, could be appreciated by people from different countries, yeah.
Got it. And we're here, we have the Indian delegation, and it's quite a representation of India at Cannes this year, whether it's the talent from, that's on screen, the talent behind the camera, people from the business side, and you have quite an audience that's listening to you, not just here, but also live through the recording. From a global forum like this, as somebody representing the Indian entertainment industry, your message to every Indian who is here at Cannes about, what's our responsibility together as a unit, like you said? What are we meant to do, and what do you think should we be doing at a forum like this to make, India proud in its 75th year?
I think, again, I'll be repeating myself, but I will repeat myself because I do believe it, and I think it's very important to say this. I think is to represent India for how beautiful, expansive, rich, and diverse, to represent India in the best possible way. And also, like I said, to believe in ourselves, to be authentic, to tell honest stories, and to stand together. And really, it is about belief. It is about believing in ourselves, our talent, our country, our stories, our diversity. And I think nothing can stop you when you do that. So I tell myself that too, So that's all I would say. I don't want to give a message or a sermon. This is something I just tell myself, and something that I feel is very important.
Super, thank you. Those were lovely answers. Extremely proud, like I said, and I speak on behalf of all the Indians here to have you over, to have you at the India Pavilion, to grace this lovely occasion, and to be at this place which truly is the home for all Indians in Cannes, in the true sense. So thank you, Aditi, for your words. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for being here, and have a great trip and have a great time at Cannes.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being a lovely audience.
I'm
Thank
currently
you.
nervous that I'm not nervous about walking the red carpet. I'm like, why am I not nervous?